All right. So, welcome to the third episode of the underwater level podcast gaming podcast thing that I'm doing here. Say hi to YouTube for those watching live right now. Say hello. Um, so I'm not going to be talking about too many things during this podcast, even though it has been like 2 months since I've done one. Because I didn't do one last month. I had surgery in there in
Hello,
the
YouTube.
I had surgery in the very first week of December. So I was like, oh, I didn't feel that much like doing the podcast then. I took a week off from streaming. And then I was going to do it after the Game Awards, but then the
Yeah, he
holidays.
became a lapras.
Yeah, I became a lapras. I got a laparoscopy. Um, uh, so I was going to do it after the Game Awards, but then the holidays were my birthday and the holidays were right after that. Um, so So after that, I was like, I mean, I'll just wait until after the holidays. So I just waited until the beginning of January here, which we're in the it's January 9th, so we're in the second week of January. But we might have two. We might have two episodes this month. Um because there's a lot to talk about that happened the past couple months. But also, if and that's if the Switch 2 is revealed this month, I will do a dedicated episode to it and talk about like whatever Nintendo talked about. I'll definitely do like a reaction stream. Um but I'll also do like a dedicated episode and talking about everything that's going on. It's funny because they just released another trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles X today for the definitive edition. And I'm excited for that. I'm definitely going to play that because that was one of my favorite games on the Wii U, and I was never able to finish it. And from what I've seen in the trailer, it seems like they're addressing what was a cliffhanger in the original game. Because I remember like people saying like, "Oh, the game had a really weird ending, and just ended kind of on a cliffhanger." So I'm glad that they're like adding more stuff, and also fixing a lot of issues that they had. One big issue was the audio, the audio mixing in Xenoblade Chronicles X was really bad. Like, the music was way louder than any of the voice lines. That was, like, a big problem in Xenoblade Chronicles X. Um, and they fixed, like, some of the UI, as far as, like, how big it is, so that way, you can just see it better, especially in handheld mode. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for that. But there's gonna be a lot of other things. Why does this page keep refreshing? What the hell? It keeps doing that. Um, I'm not even doing anything. I don't have my hand on my mouse. Um, anyway, yeah, we're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff today. I have it to about 10 things, so there are
That was me
there's
smile.
there's technically like um a little bit more than 10, though there are some things that are like tangentially related to some of the things I'm talking about. Um, but first of all, we're gonna go over the Game Awards, since I hadn't gone over it last month. And all the winners and the reveals and stuff. That's gonna be a big chunk of the podcast here, just talking about all that stuff because there's gonna be there was a lot of stuff announced, a lot of the winners and stuff. So first of all, we'll go down the list here. This is a an article from Games Radar. So yeah, here's the list of like all the announcements here. Um, but yeah, we got Naughty Dogs. This was like the big closeout. Was Naughty Dog's new game called Intergalactic. No, it's called Intergalactic. The Heretic Prophet. People were very confused about what this was when they first announced it. They had the cool like anime thing on the TV there though. Um, but yes, Naughty Dog's new IP. Um, and it's funny because it when they started out here, it's like from the creators or the studio that brought you Crash Bandicoot. It's like, oh yeah, they oh yeah, Naughty Dog made that. Yeah, new property from Naughty Dog. It's not The Last of Us, which they've been making for like the past 10 years. Um, so, um, yeah, that was the big closeout of the show. Um, got a Witcher 4. I'm only really gonna like open up some things that I am like interested in. Uh, the Okami sequel. That was like one of the big reveals. Was Okami, um, getting a sequel, and Hideki Kamiya coming back to Capcom for a new studio called Clovers, which is I guess a spiritual successor to Clover Studio. Um, so yeah, that was a big shocking reveal there. Um, I know a lot of people were very surprised to see this happen. So now we just have to wait for it to come out and see if it's good or not. Um, and it's funny because like after the Game Awards, Okami was on sale for like $5 on like all different shops. Um, so I still need to play Okami. I did play a bit of it on the PS2, but I never got very far in it. Um, so I'm definitely gonna play the Okami HD at some point. Yeah, the stars had to align in order for this game to even be conceived. Yeah. Um, Borderlands 4 was announced. Or not announced, but like they showed the trailer because they announced it before. They showed just a little gameplay trailer. Um, FromSoft announced a new game for this year, actually for 2025. Which is a 3-player, which is really weird. That's not 4 players, so like a 3-player sort of roguelike type thing for Elden Ring, which is very interesting. I'm not sure how well that's gonna be received by fans of Elden Ring. I see some people that are down for it and some people that are very skeptical, so we'll see. Um, that's a bunch of game updates here. Uh, this was the one that I freaked out the most about. And there's a clip on Twitch of me freaking out about it too. So the creator of Ico and or Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, Fumito Ueda's um next game. I can never say his name right. Um, but yeah, this was huge. Because it's like, oh, we haven't had a game from him since The Last Guardian. Um, so I was very excited to see this after I saw like from the creator of these 3 games. And what's very different about this one is that it's like a sci-fi, which is very different um compared to what he's done before. The Last Guardian is good, but I think it's definitely the weakest of the 3. Um, I would say Shadow of the Colossus is definitely the strongest. Shadow of the Colossus, like people love Shadow of the Colossus. Um, and Ico is like, it's a very old game, but it's very like emotion driven as far as like through the gameplay. Um, Same thing with Last Guardian a bit. Last Guardian is more similar to Ico than the Shadow of the Colossus. Shadow of the Colossus is more. I will say Shadow of the Colossus is definitely the most the best received because Shadow of the Colossus is like has the most like familiar game elements to any like new player. So if you were to play one of his games, I would say play Shadow of the Colossus first. And the remake is very good. I like the remake. There's some people who are a little skeptical about the remake and how like the controls are like slightly different. I've heard people say that, even though I cannot tell the difference. I cannot tell the difference between the controls of the original and the remake. Um, and the remake looks beautiful. Blue Point did an amazing game, but amazing job with that game. Um, and Blue Point also like did the Demon Souls remake, which was also very good. I never played the original of that, but I did play through it. The trailer is a brief, mysterious, but certainly fits with Ueda's propensity with making games about a boy who can climb on things. Yeah, anyone can be skeptical on remakes as long as it's playable. That should be something. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say like the remake is also like on sale like all the time on the PlayStation Network store. So if you have a PS4 or PS5, definitely like download the Shadow of the Colossus and play it because it's very good. Um, and we'll be talking about Shadow of the Colossus later in the show as well because of something else which I'm very surprised by. Um, Let's see some other things. Oh, this was another thing I thought was really cool that was announced. Um, so yeah, the team that made Blasphemous is making a 2D Ninja Gaiden game. Um, I was very surprised by that. This was during the pre-show that this was announced. Um, so this wasn't even like one of the biggest things, but there are a lot of good announcements at the Game Awards this past year. They have the little anime cutscene there. But yeah, it looks very good. I'm enjoying this a lot because I the only Ninja Gaiden I've played has been the original one, on the NES. I haven't played any of the 3D ones, though I hear they're very good. Um, but I've played the original. So, and this looks like a lot of fun. Um, oh yeah, that's right. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The PC release was basically announced because like we already knew it was coming to PC, but the shocking thing is that it was like, oh yeah, it's coming out next month. It was like, so oh, that's a lot sooner than people anticipated. Um, but yeah, it's coming out like literally in a couple weeks. Um, as the recording of this podcast. They actually just released a trailer today of like some of the new features and stuff on the PC version. Which is mainly just like higher resolution and frame rate and everything. Um, But I definitely wanna play through it again on PC once I if I ever get, like, a more powerful PC that can, like, take advantage of those higher resolutions and frame rates. But yeah, that's coming out, like, in a couple weeks on PC. Um, it's funny they also have, says Last of Us here gets another re-release with Part 2 remastered on PC. Um, let's see, what are the other big things? Onimusha coming back. That's another big Capcom thing. Um, that came back. Okami kind of like overshadowed it a little bit. But yeah, Onimusha coming back as well. Outer Worlds 2 was announced as well. That's another big one. These were like just mainly all the big stuff that was announced here. Um, but yeah, the show itself was pretty good. I liked it better than previous years. There's definitely a lot of good reveals, and it seemed like they gave the winners enough time, other than the ones that they go through quickly. I still don't like that they do that. That they go through some of the awards quickly. Um, they do that in the pre-show, and then they do it during the main show. Um, but one thing that kind of alleviated that a little bit is the fact that Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets were uh, were at the Game Awards this year. That was their Muppet guest this year because they always have a Muppet guest. Um, So I'm I'm glad it was Statler and Waldorf because they made some very, very good, um, very good jokes during the show. Yeah, I really enjoyed them. But then we get to the winners. Um, so a lot of the winners here, Game of the Year, uh, that was I was kinda worried that, the fact that because there was a whole the controversy about the, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, the DLC getting a bunch of nominations because they, like, changed the rules or whatever. Um, Thankfully, I don't think it got anything. I don't think it did. I'll have to go down the list here. Um, but yeah, I don't think it got anything. But, Astrobot got Game of the Year, which was, very surprising. Um, Actually, we don't see the winners on this article. Hold on, let me find the, article that has all the winners. Game of the Year 2024 winners. Okay, here's the full list. Okay. Okay, yeah, so Astrobot got Game of the Year, um, which was very well deserved. I love Astrobot. Astrobot was, one of my favorite games of last year. Um, which I still haven't done, like, my own tier list of, like, the games that I played last year. I didn't play as many as I did in 2023, um, but I played about around, like, 20 games, I think. Um, but, not to completion, but, like, about, like, 20 I've played. Um, but yeah, Astrobot is definitely one of my favorites, and it's definitely up there. I don't know if I like it more than Rebirth, because like, I really enjoyed Rebirth, because I love Final Fantasy. Um, but yeah, Astrobot winning, I definitely think it deserves it. It's a great game. It's basically Super Mario Galaxy 3. Um, it's a lot of fun, and they updated it with like some speedrun levels and like a Christmas level that was a very fun with some new like cameos and stuff. And apparently they're not done. They might have some more stuff, more like free levels to put in. So I'd be excited about that. Um, but yeah, it was also fun to hear the orchestra play the Balatro theme, like an orchestrated version of the that theme. That was fun. Um, but yeah, Astrobot won. And the for the speech, it was very funny to hear the developers say like, "Hey, we can't mention them by name, but thanks to the company that, you know, made that gray box with Super Mario Brothers." Yeah, they couldn't thank Nintendo directly, but, you know, they were for sure an inspiration to them. Because like, if you play Astrobot, you know, it feels like a Mario game. It feels like Mario Galaxy 3 or Sunshine 2, especially with the way, like, Astrobot has the hover. It feels very much like the hover from, Sunshine. But, yeah, Astrobot won. Best game direction also went to Astrobot. Best narrative went to, Metaphor, which I hear people say that, like, "Oh, yeah, Metaphor is, like, really good as far as its story goes, and it has, like, a lot of, like, you know, political aspects to it that are, like, very very relevant." Um, so, yeah, with Metaphor winning, that makes sense from what I've heard of from people. Best game direction went to Astrobot, not art direction. Art direction went to, Metaphor. Best score in music, I think this is the only thing that, Final Fantasy won, but for Rebirth. But yeah, Rebirth, like, if you saw me go through my playthrough last year, um, Rebirth has so many amazing songs. Um, like, it has, like, literally, like, over 100, maybe 200, like, tracks in it, and they're all super good. Some of them are a little bit reused from remake, but most of them are new. And it's incredible just the quality of the music in Rebirth is just super good. Like all the battle themes, the area themes, the um the the different styles of the different main themes in the different areas. The dog boss theme, yeah. Yeah, the themes for, like, the side quests for, like, you know, Stamp's theme for the dog the dog quests, which are a lot of fun. It's so much fun. Um, if anything, that might be why I would put Rebirth over Astrobot, as far as, like, my personal game of the year, is because of the music. And just how fun, it is because there's, like, you know, games within games in Rebirth, like, with the Queen's Blood card game, it's a super fun game. Um, so yeah, enough of me gushing about Rebirth. Um, best audio design went to Hellblade 2. Um, so I don't remember if I, like, predicted this one winning or not, but Hellblade 2, uh, from what I know, it has it to where the main character, Senua, I think Senua is the main character's name, but she hears voices. And apparently in the audio, especially if you're wearing headphones, it very much feels like you're hearing voices. Um, so that kind of makes sense for that. Other than that, I probably would have said Silent Hill 2 because, you know, it's a horror game, and horror games usually have very good audio design. Um, best performance also went to Hellblade 2. I was hoping it would go to Brianna White for Rebirth for Aerith. Um, hopefully the remake trilogy will have another chance for the last game to get a best performance win. Not sure if it will, but we'll see. but I think that might have been Brianna White's last chance. Um, because I don't remember she was nominated, when Remake was, in the nominations. Because like, if you know what happens in Final Fantasy VII, uh, I don't know if she'll get another chance. The thing is, like, with the Remake trilogy, it's got who knows what's gonna happen on the 3rd part. Innovation and accessibility went to Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, actually, which is a surprise. Um, that's a game I definitely wanna play since it's, like, it looks very inspired by Metroid Dread. Um, Games from Impact went to Neva. Um, Best ongoing game went to Helldivers 2, which is a newer game, um, which is interesting. Best community sports went to Baldur's Gate 3. Best independent game went to Balatro, which we'll also talk about a little bit later. But Balatro had a 3 win. It won in every category other than every category is nominated in other than Game of the Year. Because it was also nominated for Game of the Year, but it won Best Independent Game, Best Debut Independent Game, and also Best Mobile Game. So yeah, Balatro, it's super super addicting. It's a very fun game. If you haven't played it, it's basically poker, but roguelike. If you've been here, you might have seen me play it a bit on stream. It's a lot of fun. Best VR AR game went to Batman. I've heard it's a very good Batman Arkham game for VR. Um, Best action game went to Black Myth Wukong. Makes sense, I guess. I haven't played it, but I've seen a lot of it. Um, Best action adventure game went to Astrobot. Uh, Surprising. I thought one of the other ones wouldn't have gotten it, but Astrobot got it. Um, Best RPG went to Metaphor. So Metaphor definitely swept a lot of the RPG like focused categories. Um, but yeah, I believe Rebirth only won the music category. Best fighting game went to Tekken 8, which makes sense. Tekken 8 was like very big last year. Best family game also went to Astrobot. This is like the first time in a long time that best family game did not go to a Nintendo game. Um, yeah, every other game on here, other than Pluggy Squire was an indie game. Um, uh, the other ones are Nintendo games because usually Nintendo dominates this category, but this time it went to Astrobot. Best sim and strategy game went to Frostpunk 2. I don't know much about these games, so I don't have a lot to say about them. Best sports and racing game went to EA Sports FC 25. So basically FIFA, because they can't call it FIFA anymore. Best multiplayer game went to Helldivers 2. Makes sense for like how big Helldivers was earlier in the year. Um, Best adaptation went to Fallout, which was very surprising. I thought it would have gone to Arcane, though I think Arcane already won a year. No, I think they did it like they started doing best adaptation after Arcane was already out. Like it had already been out for a couple years. Because I think best adaptation was like a new category they added last year. I think they added it last year, or it might have been the year before. It was 2 years ago. Okay, yeah, last year was the Last of Us. Okay, so yeah, so Arcane they did add it when Arcane was was a nominee then. But yeah, this was surprising because like because season 2 of Arcane was very good. Um, but Fallout won. Which I've heard great things about Fallout. It's funny that Knuckles is on here. And Like a Dragon Yakuza. I've heard very mixed things about that show. And I haven't heard anything about Tomb Raiders, the Tomb Raider animated show that came out. Um, but that means Sonic 3 is technically like Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is technically uh what's the word? Qualified? Yeah, qualified. It's technically qualified for next year since it came out after the 2024 Game Awards. So yeah, Sonic 3 will probably be nominated next year or this year. I mean, most anticipated game went to Grand Theft Auto 6. There is no competing with that. Um, My most anticipated is Metroid Prime 4, of course. But if GTA 6 is on there, I mean, it's gonna be the most anticipated. It's gonna be one of the biggest game launches of all time. Um, Content Creator of the Year went to Queso, which I know a lot of people like love Queso. I love that like all the other nominees on here. Um, all the other nominees on here had some like more professional photos, and Queso had a photo that was like him in front of a Waffle House, which was very funny. Um, Best esports game with the League of Legends, uh, esports athlete, Faker, best esports team T1. Things that I don't really know much about at all. That's pretty on brand for Queso. Yeah, yeah. I know that Cass likes Queso. Um, but yeah, those are the winners. Again, like big wins for Astrobot. Like Astrobot winning Game of the Year is super super good. Queso got to where he's at because his mom told him to give streaming another shot. Well, that's nice. Sonic ain't getting an Emmy, but makes Disney more soulless. Something that's been left. What? Well, Sonic 3 is not getting an Emmy because Emmy's for TV, not movies. Emmys are TV, Oscars are movies. Um, Golden Globes are both, which is weird. Um, but yeah, usually like mainstream movies don't really like. There's some mainstream movies that get Oscar nominations, but for the most part, it's like more like I guess film brained people or whatever. Um, but anyway, let's move on. That's the Game Awards. But there was also another award show that happened last month. And that was the Indie Game Awards. We watched this on stream. I didn't upload my reaction to it or anything because there's not like they don't do like reveals or anything. It's just like a cut down like version of an award show. And this is the first year they did it. For the Indie Game Awards, it was like by indies for indies. Um, and they had a lot of nice categories in there. Um, a lot of variety of nominations. A, a lot of people like at least like mainstream people and like uh I don't need to sound like a hipster and I'm I'm also like wearing glasses while I'm saying this. Um but a lot of people, especially like the general gaming public, don't really pay attention to indies that much. Um
Nerd!
but there's so many indies that release in a year that there's a super big variety of stuff that releases if you just go look for it. And sometimes not even if you look for it, because like there's a lot of like big indies that came out last year that like blew up,
Nerd!
like Balatro, which Balatro actually did win Indie Game of the Year here. Um, and it's funny because like Local Thunk, the developer, he put out his acceptance video, and saying like saying like, oh, I don't deserve this. All the other indie like games here are like so much better than mine. Please go play them. Yeah, I don't think he was thinking his game would be as big as it is. Um, but yeah, it's nice that he's like, yeah, please play the other games that were nominated. Because there's a lot of here. Um, there's also like industry impact awards. These are like just like given out for like people who have industry impact. So like Outer Sloth, New Blood, Day of the Devs, Strain's Scaffold. Um, Best debut game went to Little Kitty Big City, which I still want to play on stream sometime. Um, Notable achievement in accessibility went to Another Crab's Treasure. Their acceptance for this was very funny. Um, so when they accepted the award for achievement in accessibility, because like Another Crab's Treasure, if you don't know, is a Souls like like Dark Souls or whatever, but it's, cute and it has like crabs and stuff, and you fight against like different sea creatures and junk. Um, that's something I definitely wanna play. Um, but uh, they made it to where like, oh yeah, you can have it to make it a bit easier for like people who are just like just getting into Souls games. Um, And one thing they did is, like, you can make it easier by by giving your character a gun, which is very funny. When they did the acceptance thing, they had a plushie of their crab character, um, and just, like, just holding a gun to the guy giving the, acceptance speech. But yeah, it's very funny that game won. But they have, like, a lot of other features in the game for, like, accessibility. Um, for music, Pacific Drive won. I've heard a lot of great things about that game. Visual design, Harold Halibut. I predicted that winning. That's the stop motion game, or the stop motion point and click adventure game. Um, so Harold Halibut, yeah, definitely looks like something I would want to play. Um, uh, its style reminds me a lot. Because when I say stop motion, like what kind of stop motion? Because there's a bunch of different stuff. I mean, even in the past year, we had I still need to watch Memoir of a Snail, which is from the same people who made Mary and Max. I still need to watch the new Wallace and Gromit that just came out on Netflix. Um, but for Harold Halibut, the thing I would relate it to the most would be Anomalisa. If you've ever seen Anomalisa, its style looks very similar. As far as like the human art design, for the characters, or the character design. That's what I meant to say. For the humans, remind me a lot of Anomalisa. Not quite. It's a bit more detailed in Harold Halibut, I think, and they worked on that game for like nearly 10 years. Um, so it's very impressive that uh they put that out, and they won, which is great. Um, was it 10 years? It might have been close to that. I'm not sure if it was 10 years. I might be exaggerating. Um, for bite size game, it was Thank Goodness You're Here. I've seen a lot of people playing this on Twitch. I haven't played it myself. I've been avoiding like watching people playing this on Twitch because Thank Goodness You're Here looks like a lot of fun. Um, but bite size game just means it's a game you can complete in like one sitting. Um, like either it's like a little over an hour, or probably something like 1 to 3 hours, or maybe just a little bit more. Because like I know Buckshot Roulette, I've seen a lot of people play that, and that's just like an arcadey game. Click holding, I've also seen people like play that a bit. Um, but thank goodness you're here. Um, that one I definitely want to play at some point. For innovation, it went to Cryptmaster. I'm not sure what that one is. Um, but I've seen definitely a bunch of the other ones here with like UFO 50. I definitely want to play. And Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. For emotional impact, it went to Neva, which also is like very beautiful. It has like a great artistic direction. For gameplay design, it went to Balatro. So this was Balatro's other win here. And then community management went to Aggro Crab. The crab another crab treasures developer. I believe so. Might have been a different one. No, wait, Aggro Crab was like to the crab. That other crab game. There's like another crab game. It might have been. Um, Narrative went to 1000 times resist. Um, or 1000 extra resist. Which looks very interesting. Women led game went to Mexico 1921. And solo development went to Animal Well. So, yeah, that was the Indie Game Awards. Indie Game Awards was very fun to watch. It was like very concise. It was only like a little over an hour for the show. Um, so that was fun. Like I said, it's by indies for indies, and they're gonna be doing this every year now. Um, they do it like a week after the Game Awards, so they're probably gonna do the same thing this year later in December. But let's move on. Um, and talk about GOG. So this was announced in November. This is one of the older stories that I wanted to put on here. So GOG is doing their own um preservation program. Um to where they're having like a selection of games that they're like, "Oh yeah, these games are always going to be on the site." Or they're always going to have like versions of them. And it was very funny. Um that these two are here because there's another story um, related to this story. Um, but it's very nice that they're like trying to preserve these games to make sure they always have a version or like an installer and like keep them up to date and everything, so that way you can just like always be able to buy them and like keep your installer on their account. Um, and they're DRM free, so you don't need to be, connected or anything. You just download the installer, install the game. That's what Good Old Games has been for the longest time. I've been using them for a very very long time. Um, I haven't like always used the used the installer or whatever because like you can just download just like the game installer from whatever game you purchase from them. Which I've used that for like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Because like I have the my original like discs for Roller Coaster Tycoon. But it's on GOG. And I have it on GOG as well, and I've played it that way before. But shortly after, shortly after they announced this, um, you see those two games there in the middle, Warcraft Orcs Humans and Warcraft 2. Guess what Blizzard did? Guess what Activision Blizzard did? They're like, "Hey, we're not gonna do that because we're doing like a Warcraft 1 and 2 like battle chest thing on Battle.net on the Battle.net installers." Um, yeah. So they made it to where like, "Oh yeah, so you better buy these now, or else we're not gonna be able to buy them anymore on on GOG. You can only buy them on Battle.net now." So yeah, I actually did like buy them. I actually did buy them on GOG before, because like they had them up there until December 13th, and now they're gone. Um, but GOG has said that they will still like support the game and let you download the installers whenever you want. You just can't buy them on their site anymore. Which is very unfortunate because like it's right after they made this whole video, and Blizzard's like, nah, we're gonna take our games and go home. So hopefully sometime in the future they'll change their mind or something, but yeah. The fact that like Warcraft 1 and 2 are here were on here and they're like, nah. That makes me wonder about like Diablo on there now. Yeah, damn you, Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft. Yeah. Speaking of Microsoft, um, that's our next story here. I gotta take a swig of water real quick. Speaking of Microsoft, do you know what an Xbox is? This is what an Xbox is. Hold on, let me change the audio here. Do you know what an Xbox is?
This for that, this for that, this for that, this for that. Who's the black sheep? What's the black sheep? Know who I am or when I'm coming, so you sleep. Well, you heard the others. Only still
Also, hi Beta.
Then of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think we're good with this, for this is where it's at. Where it's at. Come on. This for that, this for that, this for that.
Are those Xboxes? So this is like Microsoft's new like marketing strategy, which is really weird. Um, what's funny is that I was watching another podcast like when this happened. Um, uh, and they said, "Oh yeah, we don't have the stuff ready." Like when this marketing campaign launched, um, like they don't have the stuff ready for like TVs and stuff to play the games from the TV or whatever. Is like from the cloud or whatever. They didn't have it ready. I don't know if it's ready now. Um, yeah, if it can play Game Pass Cloud or whatever, because like they have it to where like you can play Xbox's like cloud service or whatever to play play games streaming. Um, so that's why they're saying everything is an Xbox because you can play your Xbox on everything. Um, or play on your Xbox account on everything, which is your phone, your PC, your your TV apparently, your like handheld PC, and your actual Xbox. Um, but it's just kind of gonna confuse more people. I think just like their naming convention with their consoles, you know, the series consoles, everything except for your 360. Yeah. So it's really weird the things that Microsoft are doing with Xbox. Um, so I'm not sure if this is going to go over go over too well. Um, it already hasn't really gone over that well. Um, and speaking of which, apparently there were some rumors going around in the past week about Xbox Prime being a thing, which would be Xbox's next console. Um, the thing is, they were people were speculating that Xbox they wanted to get ahead of Sony by like doing the same thing they did in the 360 days by putting out a console earlier. Um, and by earlier I mean like 2026, which would be way too soon. Um, but apparently, yeah, there was a Xbox insider that kind of shot down this rumor um about Xbox Prime being a being the name of it, or the or the code name or whatever. Um so we don't know if it's actually going to be happening. The earliest would probably be 2028, which would be, you know, 8 years. Um which it's crazy to think. You know, it's 2025 right now. So at the end of this year, it'll been 5 years since the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles released, which is crazy to think. That we're this far into the generation. Um and it feels like it's still starting, which is so weird. Um because there's still games being made for the PS4, which is crazy. Um, this far into a generation. Um, but yeah, it did pick up traction with that rumor, but it was shot down by the Xbox insider Jez Corden. So I don't think they would do that. There's also things about like, you know, this whole thing about Xbox being played on different devices. I don't know if like next generation like Xbox might be like an all digital company, or if they might go third party. We'll see. It's looking weird for Xbox because like the Xbox Series consoles, they're not selling as well as I think they want to. But another thing, is that they kind of just want people to get Game Pass. They kind of only want to get people to get Game Pass and play on that, and that's why they have all these devices here. Um, but I mean, the Xbox Series console still did pretty well. You know what? Want to know what else is an Xbox? What?
My mom!
Yep. Um, but the Xbox Series consoles, like, it's sold about like 29 million, which doesn't seem a lot compared to like Sony, which has sold like more than double that for the PS5. Um, and definitely with the Switch, because like the Switch sold like crazy, and it's getting very closer and closer to the PS2 numbers. Um, but I mean, the Xbox Series consoles are still selling better than, you know, Nintendo's worst selling console, which was the Wii U, or we're selling whole home console, I should say. Um, still think Virtual Boy was worse than that. Um, but yeah, like yeah, if you remember, the Wii U sold like 13 million, which is not great. I think the GameCube even sold like twice that, almost twice that, not quite twice. Um, yeah, not quite twice. I think it sold like 21, something like that. Anyway, yeah, we'll see what they what they do in the future. All right, enough about Xbox. let's talk about Sonic. So I did see Sonic 3 in December. Um, I know a lot of you did as well. Um, and like I think right before the movie like officially came out, um, they announced, "Oh yeah, so Sonic 4 is happening." Oh my god, that shadow emote, that's great. So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is in the works, and it's coming out in 2027, which is a bit longer between films than the first three. The first three we had, the first one was in 2020, which was originally, if you remember, it was going to be in 2019. That was going to be a 2019 film with the ugly Sonic. Um, but in 2020 it came out, one of the last films to come out before the pandemic like really got going. Um, then in 2022 we had Sonic 2. Then 2024 we had Sonic 3. Um, so the thing is like, oh, 2026, but no, it's gonna be 2027 for this one. I think it's because I think they were originally going to be planning a trilogy, but then they got like so much momentum. Um, they're like, oh, okay, now we're gonna like start to write up the fourth movie. Um, so the fourth movie, yeah, coming out in 2027. Uh, yeah, if you have seen the movie, don't spoil it in chat. Please don't spoil it in chat. If you have seen the movie, you know, like, where they're headed, with the post-credit scene and stuff. I'm very excited to see what they do. Very excited to see what they do. So I'm very happy that they're doing, Sonic 4. Um, they're probably gonna keep, making these movies as long as they, they make money, which they've been making money. Um, and I think Sonic 3 has done the best of the ones so far as, like, opening weekend and stuff. I believe so. It's definitely gonna have legs throughout January.
2025 spoiled the fact that, yes, there is a post-credit scene.
Yeah, yeah, there's, like, 2. I'm not gonna say what they are, though. I don't really consider that a spoiler, saying there's, like, a post-credit scene. Um, but, yeah, yeah, it's one of Paramount's biggest franchises, which is very funny because like, um, I think, yeah, Transformers wasn't doing as well, as far as, like, Rise of the Beasts. Because Rise of the Beasts was that was, like, 2023, I think. Didn't do that well, and it kinda, like, went down a little bit. Mission Impossible, yeah, I don't know what Mission Impossible was. I haven't seen the numbers on that one. Um, but yeah, Sonic 4, um, definitely a big franchise for Paramount now as far as, movies go. So Sonic's definitely been seeing a big resurgence in, you know, uh, fans who love the franchise, and, returning fans and new fans. Um, both the movies and the games coming up. Which, Shadow Generations was, like, a lot of a lot of fun to play through, and, was one of the better Sonic experiences in the past few years. Obviously, Paramount's the biggest franchise of SpongeBob, yeah. Yeah, I'll start out with a ugly Sonic. Alright, next thing, Super Nintendo World had a direct. Um, Miyamoto was talking about, Super Nintendo World and their new expansion, which is gonna be the, Donkey Kong, uh the Donkey Kong expansion. Bunch of things you can do there, like, finding the, the Kong letters throughout the park. Um, bunch of new, very delicious looking food. That looks very good. Um, they have it to where you can meet Donkey Kong, uh, which this suit that they have is huge. Look how big he is. That's like one of the biggest mascot suits I've seen. Yeah, look at him.
おお、気に入ってるみたいです。ドラミングも絶好調ですね。じゃあ、どん
Yeah,
どんこ
he's
こで
huge.
一緒に写真を撮ろうよ。ね。よし。カメラチー。いきますよ。3、2、
Yeah, it
はい。
looks like a lot of fun. Um, a bunch of other things. The funky like merch store. Um, one thing I wanted to show here. Uh, this is the queue for the ride that they're doing. The 3DS camera sound, yeah. This little thing here, like the Donkey Kong inside. I didn't notice this before, but there was like the Pikmin with the the barrel here. There's a lot. That's basically their hidden Mickeys. In the Super Nintendo world are hidden Pikmin. There's Pikmin like hidden all throughout the park. And then we got this here, which I thought was really cool. I really like this animatronic of a Cranky Kong.
話してますよ。
この先のトロッコに乗ってゴールデンテンプルから敵族を追っ払いゴールデンバナナを守ってくれ頼んだぞゴールデンバナナを守れるかはお前たちにかかって
Yeah, the way his like eyes and like eyebrows move.
皆さん聞きましたか？
Yeah, and then we got like a little sneak peek
はい。
of the
ト
of
ロ
the
ッコが
ride.
スタートしました。ディクシーコングが何
You
か
see
言って
Dixie
ます
Kong
ね
there.。
さあ、ここから神殿の頂上まで登っていきますよ。
But yeah, they did a little tease. They didn't do like a complete
巨大
ride
な
through.
春大砲に
There
入
are
ってい
some
き
ride
ます
throughs like on YouTube now though, since like this opened to Japan on December 11th. So there's a bunch of people who did their own, you know, walkthroughs of the expansion and stuff. But yeah, it's coming out as part of Orlando's Epic Universe later this year. I believe in May. So that's when it's coming to the US. I don't know when the Hollywood version of it's coming though. Yeah, May. Um the other Nintendo thing, and this is actually from yeah, this is from today. Build the classic system in Lego form, coming October 2025. They're doing a Game Boy for Lego. Which I don't think it'll be quite as much as the NES, because like I have the NES. I got that for Christmas one year from my friend Jax. Um, but yeah, they're doing a Lego Game Boy. It's not coming out until October, which they announced this very early. Then, very very early. So yeah, I'm excited. I'll probably get this. It probably, like I said, it probably won't be as much as the NES. The NES is like $250. But the Game Boy, it might be. I'm guessing anywhere between $89.99 and 120. I'm just guessing. I'm not sure how many pieces it's gonna be. I'm not sure how big it's gonna be, because it looks like they're doing like the original brick Game Boy with those colors. It might be less than that. It might be $50. I don't know, but we'll see. I just have to see how many pieces it is. Uh, I wanted to see something that was related to that. Um, I think I reposted it on Blue Sky. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, I saw this. The jokes write themselves. New Nintendo console announcement. That's right. New Lego console kit announcement. Which we'll talk a bit about that later with the Switch 2 stuff, because everybody's just on edge about like, you know, waiting Nintendo to announce like something for the Switch 2. And there's like a new Lego console that you can build. Yep. All right, let's talk about some of the CES stuff. So PlayStation was there. before he gets into to the Switch 2 rumors, or not rumors, but leaks. Because like CES just happened this week. Um, so PlayStation was there, and they announced a bunch of movie stuff. Nothing related to games. They did announce their car that's like apparently coming out this year. That's like a joint venture with Honda, I believe. Um, it's a car that you can control with like a PS5 controller. um, a new car, yeah. But they announced a bunch of stuff. Uh, there's gonna be a Ghost of Tsushima anime, which makes sense. They're apparently making a Helldivers film, which a lot of people said like that's just Starship Troopers. Um, but we'll see what they do with it. Apparently, there's gonna be a Horizon Zero Dawn movie adaptation. An Until Dawn movie releasing this year, actually. Which I don't think we've seen like a trailer or anything for it. Um, Last of Us Season 2 has a new teaser, and that's coming out in April. Apparently, they're working on Last of Us location-based experiences, which is very weird how they explain that. Says the project uses technologies like video, audio, and haptics. Okay. Even more Last of Us stuff. Um, but yeah, that's like a lot of their media stuff that they were talking about. But they didn't talk about this here. But apparently, um, when I mentioned Shadow of the Colossus earlier in stream, apparently the Shadow of the Colossus movie is still alive, and the script is done. So this has been in works for a long time, and it's still being worked on. I was very surprised. I thought they would have canned this a long time ago. Um, it'll be very interesting to see what they do with this, because I'm not sure if they'll go it. Because in Shadow of the Colossus, you don't really talk to anybody. So, um, other than the force that's like telling you to kill the colossi. Um, so I'm wondering, like, how is this film gonna go? Is it just gonna be like Wander, um, going to like kill the colossi, and it's just like more of a dialogueless film where you're just following this one character? Um, which I would like that. That'd be interesting. I love films like that. Um, so hopefully it is something like that. I would like that a lot if it was like that, but we'll see. Um, I'll just have to wait and see on this. I'm not sure if actually let me look up this I don't know if this is the director or the writer. I'm gonna look up his name real quick. See, what has he worked on before? Okay. Um, not too much. Oh, interesting. He directed It and It Chapter 2. Okay. That's very interesting. Oh, but he also directed the Flash. Oh no. Okay. That's quite the swing there. That's quite the swing there in quality. Okay, we'll see. We'll see how that goes for the Shadow Colossus movie. All right. All right, last thing before we go to the Switch rumors. Um the Nvidia 50 cards or 50 series cards were basically shown off at CES and saying like, "Oh yeah, so we're going to be launching these because there'd been like rumors and stuff and speculation about the 50 series cards for the past few months." They finally revealed them and the price points. And surprisingly, at least for the lower end ones, um, aren't as bad as people thought they were gonna be, but the top one is still like as bad as people thought they were gonna be. Um, $2,000 for the 5090. That's insane. That is a lot for a graphics card. It's quite a lot from the 5080 to the 5090. $1,000 difference. $1,000 difference between these two cards. 5070 is probably where I would go to. Like, I don't need that much. And even, like, 5060 whenever they do that. Um, we'll see how it is, though, with performance and because like, right now I have a 3060 in my, computer. But, yeah, I'm not gonna go through, like, all this stuff because there's, like, a lot of nerd shit that I can't even explain. Um, but, yeah, this is the main thing, was the pricing. But, yeah, coming out January 30th. Um, definitely expensive, uh, with the top one being, like, so expensive. But we'll see how it goes down during the launch. I'll just watch my tech channels and see how they talk about the, the 50 series cards. Alright, now to the last things. Switch leaks. Big Switch leaks. This happened at CES. Let me take a swig of water before I talk all about it. And it's all from third-party, manufacturers for, basically accessories for the Switch, you know, like console grips and, charging stations and stuff. Because they need to know what the Switch looks like to, like, actually make products for it. So, here's, like, a mock-up. This isn't the actual thing from what people say, but it's basically a mock-up from a third-party company to, you know, show off their accessories and stuff. Every time a Switch 2 leak happens, Nintendo delays the reveal, yeah. But a bunch of stuff leaked here, and this is from one of the, manufacturers, Genki, who makes, like, console grips and stuff and, you know, cases and stuff. But basically, they had a dummy model. This is a 3D printed model. This is basically the size and, you know, dimensions of the console.
La Switch 2 va être annoncée dans quelques...
But I'll have it, muted here. But they have it to where, you know, they confirm it's, like, you know, magnetic Joy-Cons. They have a little video here too, which, I think it's also down here. Of the Switch 2 and, like, how, you know, it releases and everything. There's also some other, interesting things to talk about with this. But yeah, here's the other video. Let me see, can I make it bigger? Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is the video from the, console manufacturer. Or not console manufacturer, the accessories manufacturer. Damn, why is the Twitter video wasn't loading correctly. So I was just trying to go to this, the site they have here.
The Switch 2 is leakier than a poorly built ceiling.
Yeah. That is right. Shot by console. Nintendo Switch. Control plus grip. Okay, that's not right. Alright, anyway. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this here. So, you saw that red blinking light there? So yeah, that's the Joy-Cons, like, you know, off of the charging station. But from what people say and see here, um, because people also posted a photo of the Joy-Cons and it looked like this. Um, this looks like an optical sensor. Um, and if you're on your computer right now, lift up your mouse and look at it. Lift up your mouse and look at the bottom of it, and that's what an optical sensor is. Um, so people are speculating that you can maybe use your Joy-Con as a mouse or something, which would be very interesting for games like RTS games or like God games, um, stuff like that. Stuff like Civilization. Um, but yeah, it might be an optical sensor, though. That's just speculation right now. We don't know. We don't know the details unless until Nintendo themselves actually talk about it. But yeah, this is basically this is a 3D mock-up. So this isn't actually the console itself. This is just a mock-up from Genki, and they're like casing and stuff over it. My mouse's optical sensor doesn't shine. Yeah, mine doesn't either. It only shines when. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, mine doesn't shine at all. Um. But yeah, and there's the thing for the stand where it has like the shaped kickstand compared to just the regular small kickstand for the original Switch and the the big like slab that was for the OLED. I do remember when mouses had when mice had balls. But yeah, and there's the dock too, and you can see a bit of the logo, which that's also been leaked today as well, like or this week. Um, which is the Switch 2 logo, which is just like a 2 next to the Switch logo, which makes a lot of sense. And how it has like a bit of a thick back there. But it does still have it has a USB-C port on the top, so maybe you can charge it from the top. We don't know yet until Nintendo themselves tells us. Because there is a there's two USB-C slots, one at the bottom and one at the top. From what we know from like all the leaks. Um, but this one here is very funny. Nintendo Switch details leak and people aren't happy, which is very funny. There's just a bunch of like posts here about the Switch 2. Go away. All right. When are we getting the Switch 2 reveal? This is the Switch 2 reveal. um, Switch 2 is literally this. There's some people that are like mad about the logo or like the name that it might actually just be called the Switch 2, which I'm fine with. I think simple is better to go with than going with something like the Wii U. But I thought this was funny too. Nintendo when they actually reveal the Switch 2.
You've seen this before?
11 times, as a matter of fact.
Little SpongeBob clip there. But yeah, because here's all the pictures. Because during Christmas, actually, somebody leaked the motherboard, of the Switch, and there's the Joy Cons as well. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait until Nintendo says something this month. Hopefully this month. Hopefully they don't wait until next month. I think at the earliest, or at the earliest, it might be right after they release Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, or not 3D, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, which comes out next week. Because they released like 2 trailers today. They released like a trailer for MEO, which apparently you should not watch because it has like in-game spoilers in it. And Xenoblade Chronicles X. So they launched like 2 trailers today on their YouTube channel. And Donkey Kong comes out next week. So I'm guessing they'll do something after Donkey Kong releases. But also, we have stuff from GameStop leaked today as well about accessories for the Switch 2 that are like, oh, this Switch 2 gaming case stuff, carry case, micro SD cards, tempered glass. Bunch of stuff that they have in their system right now for GameStop. But also other things. Apparently, there's been third-party leaks. And these are very interesting. Tekken 8, FIFA, and Red Dead Redemption 2? Question mark? Because Red Dead Redemption is already on Switch. Which would be very interesting if those are like third-party games that they have near launch. Says I already have a list of third-party studios that will support release. So, let me see the lists here. So we got Electronic Arts, Square Enix, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Square Enix again, Bandai Namco, Electronic Arts, Take-Two. Yeah, EA, Take-Two. So these are just like, you know, placeholders for different games from these third parties. So it'll be very interesting. And these by Nintendo themselves, or for like the price of the console itself, which seems to be 359 euros. And a different one at 199 euros and 240. So it might be different SKUs. As far as like, you know, different like versions of the console at launch, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. The 199 one has me very curious of like, would they launch it with a like with a light version? I don't think so. I think they'd wait for that. So this is very interesting. But anyway, yeah, the Switch 2 is leaking all over the place. People are antsy for waiting for the Switch 2 really the Switch 2 announcement from officially from Nintendo. So all we have to do is just wait this month. Hopefully it's next week. Or the week after that. Or the week after that. If it's not this month, it better be in February. I hope it's before Pokemon Day. Or they might wait until after Pokemon Day. I don't know. They said, oh yeah, we're going to be announcing it, like, before the fiscal year ends, and the fiscal year ends at the end of March. So they could wait, literally, until the last day of March. And announce it then. So who knows? Anyway, thank you for watching the underwater level. If you're on YouTube. We might have another episode, this month, for the Switch 2 reveal, if it happens this month. If it does, there will be another episode. If not, probably won't be. And now, say bye, YouTube.